All right, Brian. So we've talked about 2 decisions you've made. I want to talk about a decision that I've made that ended up changing my life, and I'm going to argue probably changed your life.
Oh, it
forever
did change
as well.
my life.
Decision number 3, making the call. This was back. Brian had decided early on in his career, or early on in the new firm, he was going to make his first full-time hire. And me, being a soon-to-be graduate of the University of Georgia, said, you know what? I am going to go interview for this guy. He came and spoke at our student association, and he was hiring for an intern. I said, I want that internship. So I went and interviewed with Brian, and I crushed it.
He did indeed
crush it.
He crushed it too well, though.
And so what happened is I waited and
I didn't call him. I didn't call him.
I didn't hear back.
I didn't want the conflict of telling you no. So I just was, because you would have probably tried to sell me on why you should be working here. And I was so worried because realize I had come from this public accounting background. I had started my own firm because I had that moment of clarity after my father passed away. And then I spotted in you that you had this, it wasn't even just a glimmer of a spark there. You actually had this internal fire. I was like, I'm going to train this guy, turn him into a beast of the industry, and then he's going to go start his own firm. That was my fear. Yeah. But you did something that I think, and I talk about this when I talk about Millionaire Mission. I give some tips in here on do what others will not do. And that's one of the secrets of success. You did it, Bo. You are fearless because you called me up out of the blue to ask me why the heck I had not given you the call to give you the internship.
Yeah, I wanted some closure. I wanted to understand, hey, I felt like I did this thing. I really enjoyed this firm. I really liked the interaction. What fell through? And I said, you know what, if he's not going to call me, the worst thing that I can do is call him and him say, oh, I didn't like you, or you weren't good, or you could have done this better. So I was going to learn something for it. So I called him and said, hey, tell me what happened. And after he walked me through, you crushed it and you did all these things and all this stuff was wonderful, I just kind of said, hey, man, I really feel like this is special. I really feel like this is it. I think that you ought to consider giving me this job. And the rest is kind of history. He said, you know what? Hey, maybe you should come into this. You can see this was me at that time in life. This was at that stage, that young man who had a bunch of misguided confidence. And then fast forward, now we get to do this show together and share the good news of financial independence with millions of folks every single week, all because of a single phone call.
Yeah, I love it. I was wondering if you go show the picture because you were kind of slow rolling the picture to let everybody. By the way, everybody who's out there listening in podcast land, I would encourage you, go to YouTube, look at this video. Bo's going to show what he looked like, of course, in his best red and black.
That's right.
And then also we'll show his future wife.
Yep, she was
now
my
his wife
girlfriend at the time.
Past the decade.
That's
right.
right.
You're getting older. And then you also see a great image of us in our full-on nerd wear with red and black headphones, mixer board, and my sweater vest to keep the core clean and warm, obviously. So, but here's the takeaway. What can you do? And I've kind of already alluded to this, and I even cover this as some of the key questions that I've written in Millionaire Mission is do what others aren't willing to do. I mean, that awkwardness of I can't imagine what your mind thought it could have been or uncomfortableness to pick up the phone and say, I'm going to call this person and then ask them why they didn't hire me. And what I love about this is yes, that's an awkward conversation, but it would have still probably bared a lot of fruit in both ways, no matter whether it's you finding out how you could do better in the next interview or doing what you did. You actually changed my opinion, and I actually hired you right there on that phone call.
Yeah, I think what's really interesting is I've always had the skill set that I am comfortable having the uncomfortable conversations. I kind of played in my mind, how bad could this go? If I call him, what's the worst thing that could happen? Well, he tells me I'm awful. He tells me I'm horrible. He tells me how bad I did. Well, even that is going to be valuable for me. And I have found in life that if I can be comfortable in situations where other people are uncomfortable, generally speaking, it kind of gives me a leg up. Either I'm able to learn something I did not know previously, or I'm able to communicate something that I was not previously able to communicate. So if you can figure out how to have that difficult conversation, put yourself in that uncomfortable situation and be comfortable in it, there's a really good chance that you can set yourself up for future success.
One of the life things that I've learned about this, I think you do it more naturally. I don't, because I'm a little shy. I'm not shy, but I'm
Most
definitely...
Most people like to avoid discomfort.
It's hard. I'll do these things first. Do the hard stuff first. Don't procrastinate. That's human nature. As you say, well, I'll do that at the end of the day. No, do the hard stuff first, and then you'll enjoy the day more, and you'll be more productive.